I think the sun just came out. I guess I'm just gonna have a sunshine goatee for this intro, and that's fine. We're at the thrift store today. I haven't been thrifting the entire month of October. It's October 26th today, so almost made it the whole month. I'm not gonna get too excited though, because today I'm challenging myself to thrift in sections that I typically avoid at the thrift store. Here's the deal. I'm going to Texas this week for a work trip. I'm going to a conference, but it's not the typical conference that I usually go to, where I usually dress pretty business casual and honestly more comfortable than anything else. This conference is a little bit fancier. I'm also going to be on a panel at it, so I just kind of want something a little bit special to commemorate the experience. I just don't really have any like suits in my collection at all. I have slacks and I have nice tops, but I don't know, nothing was really hitting for me. And although I'm sure I could have put something together if I really tried, like I said, this is a special occasion and I feel like it's worth going shopping for. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high because I'm at the thrift store and not the mall, but I would love to find a two-piece set of some kind. These are the silhouettes that I typically gravitate toward for workwear in general. So I usually love like a wider leg pant or a boot cut situation. Those are just the most comfortable to me. And then I love a longer line top or like a tunic of some kind, usually like a vest or some sort of longer, nice blouse. I typically avoid the blouse section because I'm not a big fan of collared shirts, blazers, like the traditional workwear style. So this is going to be a challenge for me to look through those sections. Looking through the blazers and suits, slacks, the blouses. These are all sections, seriously, that I would probably either go to last at the thrift store or just avoid altogether. So let's go thrifting. I decided to start in the shoe section to just sort of dip my toe in the water. I wanted to look for some kind of professional shoes and just see what they had. These leather riding boots are so pretty, but the other one was non-existent. And I'm always a sucker for a snow boot like this. The brand on these was actually Tommy Hilfiger, which I thought was so cute, but they were too small and obviously not on theme for today. Now this boot is kind of exactly what I look for when I'm looking for like a professional shoe that I would actually wear. Incredible teeny tiny square toe. I love these silver studs, like massive oversized studs. The only thing I didn't love was the back of these. It's not all leather. It's got like that fabric part, and this heel was a little messed up too. I like the idea of looking for sort of a colorful shoe like this that has a good color to it, but is somehow kind of muted at the same time and can be a neutral. Speaking of neutral, I found these light gray Steve Madden little block heels with the ankle strap, and I thought these were really sweet also. They were too small though. Okay, this was another deviation from the curation at hand, but I thought these were so cool. These sort of strappy sandals that I thought could be so pretty with tights for like a holiday party or something. I didn't get them, but I thought they were really cool. I really liked the shape and like the construction of these little leather ballet flats, but the colors were just really throwing me off. I really didn't think I could make them work, but I like something like this as a ballet flat option. I feel like it can be so easy to find these sort of vintage 1980s pumps at the thrift store, and it's always hard for me to tell if I actually like them or not. I always try to look at the heel and then the toe, and I really liked the color of these, but I just think that the actual shape of them looked a little bit too 80s for me. Okay, not for the conference again, but I'm just feeling so inspired to get like a really cool strappy sandal to wear for the holidays with like a fun pair of tights. Wouldn't that be so pretty? I have a pair of Skechers ballet flats that are so similar to this. These are a little dirty, but I love how metallic these are, and I'm not gonna get them, but I just feel like they've been such a good staple in my wardrobe, and I know they look a little orthopedic, but I feel like they end up looking really good styled. Ever since going to sock hops when I was like in elementary school, I've always wanted the saddle shoe to come back, and this isn't quite it, but I feel like it's close. Just wanted to take a little moment for these NASCAR platform clogs. Kind of love, kind of want to get, but I won't. This is why I gotta stop looking in the wrong shoe size for me, because I'm heartbroken by these little peep toe flats. Another incredible holiday option. Again, I would do it with like a fun tight, like a colored tight, or even like a cute sock. Okay, I'm still not ready to hit my least favorite section, so I decided to skim the bags just in case there was something that I absolutely needed. And that's when I found this absolute gem of a bag, which again has no business coming on this work trip with me, but I have to admit I did end up buying it. I didn't end up showing it in the haul because I couldn't pack it in my bag, but I absolutely love it. It's definitely like hand felted, handmade, so beautiful, so fun. After procrastinating sufficiently for about 15 minutes, I finally made my way to the vests and suits, and then kind of worked my way into the blazers. I was really hoping to find a longer lined vest, something like this, that I feel like is really trendy right now. This sweater one was the closest I came to. I like the shape of it, but it just wasn't quite right. This vintage candy striped suit set was super cute. I thought the little delicate bow at the bottom was really sweet, and it's a skirt set, which I thought was fun, but this wasn't my size. I wasn't gonna have time to alter anything, so I had to leave it. But this was a promising step for me to even consider a blazer. Then I found another suit set that really was something else. Like, this is definitely vintage 90s. It was a silk velvet with a silk lining, very well made. Maybe a little fancy for what I was going for, but I thought the separates could maybe work. So I tried it on and it ended up being too big. I was so excited to find this vintage piece with the oversized collar, actually another skirt set as well. And this gave me really good inspiration for something that I would like to look for, but this wasn't quite right and it was too big. Now, if I could just be a normal person, this would be kind of exactly what I'm looking for. This is an incredible quality express blazer, but it's just so boring to me. This Ralph Lauren one I thought was promising. It kind of looked equestrian, which isn't typically my style, but I thought it could be kind of fun to style with some slacks maybe. I don't know. Liked the idea of this really thick knit blazer style cardigan, but it just wasn't quite right. Like, what is wrong with me that I go for this torn up, shredded looking boho style blazer and not the nice express one? Like, what is wrong with me? I didn't even try it on because I knew it wasn't right for what I'm going for. Made my way over to the slacks, where I immediately found a pair of express pants, gorgeous, but I do already have a pair. I found a pair of these silk pants, which I really like the idea of a silk trouser. I've had some in the summer that I really liked, but this is like baby poop green color that I couldn't get down with, so I had to leave them behind. And then I found them in this gray color, which I also didn't like. I really wish they came in a dark brown or a burgundy or something like that. I was feeling a little defeated looking at the sections that I don't like looking at, and I was not gonna look at the dresses because I really wanted to wear like a pants outfit, but this brown dress was calling at me from the end of an aisle. The cut of it was really pretty. I love the cowl neck. I love the dark chocolate brown color. I thought this actually had some good potential. Here's another kind of typical corporate piece, I feel like these bodycon fitted dresses that are knee length and have some sort of cap sleeve. This is from Banana Republic, and they had it priced at $20, which I thought was a little crazy, and I didn't love it enough to want to spend that much on it. I thought this vintage piece was super cute. It was kind of nautical. I love the grommets at the bottom, but I couldn't really figure out how to make it work for a corporate event, so I left it behind. I feel like this has good potential, but because it's cotton, it feels maybe a little bit too casual, and I don't love the ruffle at the bottom. Okay, again, I feel like this is what I should be getting. And actually, I didn't hate this one. I liked the neckline, I liked the cap sleeve, but I don't know, maybe it was just the color. I don't even hate gray. Like, I don't hate black and gray, but I just was not inspired by it. I don't know. It was at this point I started feeling a little bit down on myself. I feel like I kept finding some good pieces for like what corporate women should wear or do wear currently, and I was just feeling so uninspired. So I just kind of gave myself permission to let it go and to kind of look at and be inspired by whatever I found. Cue this incredible, I don't know what this is, like prairie style costume. This was so well made. It reminds me of something that one of the backup singers or dancers on I think it's called the Lawrence Welk show from the 70s, like something they would wear. I don't know, but sometimes you just need a little palette cleanser after looking at a bunch of gray dresses. A couple more palette cleansers here. I really liked this 90s velvet deep purple dress. It just wasn't quite doing enough for me. And then this also 90s silk dress I thought was really beautiful and kind of a more fun take on that classic silhouette I was talking about. But this felt a little bit too springy in the colorway. Wasn't having too much luck, so I let myself go to the skirt section, which is actually one of my favorite sections. And I told myself that I really needed to consider some of the gray and black pieces, which I always skip over at the thrift store. Which I'm so glad I did, because then I found this maxi skirt with ruffle detailing, rosette at the bottom. I pretty much immediately put it in my cart. I also like the idea of this sort of swishy skirt. Knee length one, kind of slinky material, kind of a nice little houndstooth option from Mac Studio, which I love, but I didn't love the length on this skirt. Of course, then I found this beautiful Free People drop waist skirt that I actually thought had really good potential for kind of a dressed up professional outfit. This was kind of the inspiration picture I was working with, and so I had some good ideas for this. Here I am gearing up to head down my last least favorite section, the blouses. Now don't get me wrong, a nice top is one of my favorite things to find. I'm just so daunted by the long sleeve blouses because they often include tons of flannels, collared shirts, and that's just typically not my style. I feel like there needs to be a separate aisle just for like nice tops that aren't necessarily collared shirts. Do you know what I mean? The term blouse is just too loose or something. Okay, I found this cutesy window pane print silk blouse. I thought it had some potential. I liked how vintagey it looked because it was vintage, so I decided to try it on. This Ellen Tracy silk top, also incredibly gorgeous. I'm really loving this dark purple color. I'm noticing that looking back at all the footage. I've picked it up a lot, and I do think this eggplant color is like trending this season, so that's probably why. This was definitely really wrinkled, but I saw a lot of good potential in this. I feel like, again, these denim button-up tops are so trendy right now, and I don't know, there's something about it, obviously not for a corporate event, but just in general that I really liked. This one I have a lot of regret not picking up. I love the neckline. I love this silver muted color. I don't know why I didn't want to try it on. I like looking back, I think this is a really cool option, but there must have been a reason in person. Decided to round out my shopping by looking at the cardigan sweaters, and here I'm really looking for a good structured knit cardigan, almost blazer-esque. This was honestly a really cool option, but it was incredibly itchy, and I knew that just was not going to fly for a conference. I really considered this sort of pistachio green cardigan. I loved the jewel buttons on it, but I just didn't really think the colorway would fit in my wardrobe very well. I loved the idea of this one. I thought that dragonfly was a brooch or like embroidered, but then I realized it was puffy paint. Okay, kind of exactly what I love to look for, the big buttons, but the buttons looked a little off, and yeah, boo. This was near perfection. I love the big buttons. I love the tight knit. Love the embroidered butterflies. My only problem was that the embroidery didn't continue to the back, and that is one of my pet peeves in clothing, so I didn't pick it up. This was a good find. 100% cotton, a really good knit. I love that there's just a button closure at the top. The only problem was a size too big for me, so I needed to try it on to make sure it wasn't gonna look goofy. Okay, I did something so silly. I was really in a hurry. I don't think I mentioned this, but I really only had an hour to thrift because I was doing it on my lunch break. I ran out of time, big time. So I just decided to buy almost everything that was a maybe or a yes. I went back to work. I came home. I tried them on. I hated almost everything. So now I am back at a new Value Village. I'm going to exchange the things that I didn't end up wanting and hopefully have better luck here. But anyway, I'm kind of annoyed with myself. And honestly, I spent like 50 bucks and I just started thinking if I really wanted something special, I probably could have just bought something new. I've only bought, I think, 2 or 3 new things this year. I do try to limit that in general, but I probably could have just done that instead of spending $50 that I'm maybe now not going to get back. So, although this is the more resourceful way to shop, it's not always the most financially responsible way. I just wanted to acknowledge that. Anyway, at least I got 2 thrift trips out of one day, I guess. All right, so let's go. Austin now. I did not have time to film the haul and try on portion before I left for this trip, so I just packed everything I got. I ended up with 7 pieces. I was kind of pre-styling things as I was packing, obviously, and I'm really excited about the things that I came up with, and I think it's gonna be some good inspo just to put out there. That's my goal. If nothing else, this is just a fun little thrift haul. Where do I want to start? Let's start with the most expensive piece, which was surprisingly this cardigan. This was $10.49. Part of my inspiration were these structured cardigans, specifically with a nice big button, a really good knit to them, and this was kind of right on the money with that. I love how this only has a closure at the top. And I almost did not even try this on because it was a size large, and I was really trying to stay in my lane with my own sizing because I can get really into sizing up, thinking it looks fine when I try it on the thrift store, and then it ends up looking goofy when I actually try to style it in real life. But this one was kind of undeniable. Once I tried it on, I was like, no, I think I'm gonna love this. I think I'm gonna wear this all the time. Also, as a little travel hack, I always like to bring a really cozy cardigan that can serve as both a layer outerwear option, but also as a bed jacket or a getting ready robe. At home, I'm constantly in my bathrobe. I never pack my bathrobe when I travel. It just takes up too much space, obviously. I try to avoid packing sweatshirts because a sweatshirt isn't functional for my outfits. And I also prefer a cardigan because when I'm getting ready, I don't like to have to take something over my head after I've done my makeup, you know? So anyway, all that to say, I love this cardigan. It's a deep purple eggplant color. I feel like it's really trendy right now. It's 100% cotton. The brand is Charter Club. It's just got a really good drape to it. Super cozy. And I really do feel like this can pair with pretty much everything I packed. I feel like this eggplant color is kind of a good neutral in a way, even though it's not a neutral. I was really trying to stay away from too much black because I feel like, especially in the corporate world, black is such a fallback color and just not something I'm really drawn to at the thrift store. If there's a black section at the thrift store, I usually skip over it. I had to stop myself while I was in the middle of thrifting and be like, girl, you gotta look at the black stuff. You gotta look through the gray stuff because that's where some of these really quality pieces are. So had to stop myself to give myself a little pep talk. And when I did that, I found probably my favorite item in this thrift haul. This is a black maxi skirt with a little ruffle frill at the bottom and then this rosette detail. It is so beautiful. The main layer is like a mesh overlayer of a slip skirt. It's vintage JS Edward. The price on this one was $7.49. I was specifically excited about this one because Chloe Fall Winter 2025 had all of these skirts that have this sort of like mermaid cut to them with a little bit of a flare out by the ankle. I had totally forgotten that I wanted to find a long black maxi skirt like this to wear with a belt with metallic detailing of some kind. And I already have the perfect belt. I thrifted it in the spring. Now, I was having a really hard time finding the right top to go with it for some reason. The thing about this skirt is that it is very formal wear adjacent. I didn't want to continue to dress it up too much, but I also didn't want to dress it down. One of the options I was considering was just like a white t-shirt, like maybe a nicer white t-shirt, which I still think looks really cute. But then I remembered I had also thrifted this wool vest, also vintage by the brand Vision. It's a little zip up vest. I just loved the texture of it. It's sort of like this worsted wool. It has these little pockets at the front, 100% wool. When I tried these on together, it was like a magical pairing. And it's so ironic because it's a black on black outfit, which I was kind of trying to avoid. And it's also kind of witchy and it's the week of Halloween. So I just feel like it all came together perfectly in this beautiful concoction of an outfit and I cannot wait to wear it. By the way, that vest was $2.99. $2.99 for a wool vest. Please. Okay, let's talk another $2 sleigh because this one was $2.49. This is a silk blend Giorgio Studio 3/4 length sleeve top, kind of like a dusty navy blue color. I've gotten things from this brand before and they've been really, really nice. So I knew when I saw that tag, it was probably something worth picking up. When I tried it on, I really liked the fit of this, styling this with like a high neck white tank top underneath and like layering it up, but it also just looked really sleek and beautiful as is. I don't own a lot of this navy color. I feel like navy can be so tricky. If it's too warm of a navy, then it just doesn't quite look right on me and it doesn't end up going with a lot of the things that I have in my closet, but I liked this dustier, cooler tone to this color. I just thought this could be a really good basic. I also thought that this would be cute with the long black skirt, and it was a cute option. I love the idea of mixing navy and black. I think that's really chic. I just thought this would be a good essential to have just in case I needed it. I didn't really have a specific styling in mind for this one, but I feel like it's one of those that's pretty versatile and could kind of work with anything. And then I got another navy thing. This navy is that warmer navy that I was just talking about, but since it's a bottom, I feel like it's okay. These are a pair of capris by Zach and Rachel. They were $6.99. They have this really cool grommet and studded detail at the bottom in silver, which I thought was so fun. I liked how edgy that was. This color and like sort of that suiting material I feel like is really typical in corporate fashion. But with this added detail, it felt so cool to me. Now, when I was pre-styling everything, when I was packing, I was having the hardest time styling these. Like everything I put on was not right. I actually have so much regret because I ended up not buying this blue slouchy cowl neck top that I found during my first part of the thrift with me. And I'm pretty sure it actually would have gone perfect. I didn't pick it up because it was kind of the wrong color, but I think it was this exact color. And I think that would have been so good together. But anyway, I thought this also looked really good with the wool vest. And I just ended up packing some little nude kitten heels that I wear all the time to work events. They're super comfortable, easy to walk in, and they're really stylish. The cowboy boots weren't gonna work very well with it. I wanted to wear like a tall boot underneath it, but the bottom of the leg just wasn't quite flared out enough for it. But yeah, I was pretty excited about these too. Perfect category of blending professionalism with personality. This next piece, it's really similar to the top I'm wearing right now, actually. It's this like muted, kind of dusty lavender taupe-ish color. It's actually a bodysuit, just like a really good fitted top. This is one of my favorite tops to wear in a professional setting. I just feel like the color is really calming and it's pleasant on my skin tone. It's a neutral, so it goes with a lot of things. I end up wearing this top a lot. When I saw this, I was like, okay, this is so similar, and I feel like I would get a lot of wear out of this. I like that it's still that dusty neutral tone where I can use it as a neutral, but it still is a pop of color. This was $7.99. The brand is Hollister. So kind of boring, kind of basic, but I feel like a good essential. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, I kind of feel like this top with these capris maybe could be good. So I need to try that. But what I really thought that top might be good to pair with was this pair of pants, which is the last item and also one of my favorites. These are from Old Navy. They're super high-rise velvet, again in this eggplant color. This one's more of a burgundy eggplant than the sweater. The cut of these is so perfect. I obviously couldn't try them on in the store. I just had to trust and believe. They were only $3.79. And I found out the reason why when I got home, which was that somebody took a little scissor to the hem of these pants. And they didn't do a terrible job. Yeah, they kind of did. But they're actually the perfect length for me, so it's fine. And these aren't too frayed yet. I don't hate the raw hem, but obviously for a professional setting, it's not my ideal. So I think eventually I will try to do like a little baby hem on them. But in the meantime, they are so good. They're like got a good stretch to them. I just love the cut. They're really cozy. They feel really appropriate for fall and winter because there's that velvet texture. They feel trendy, but also really timeless in a way. These were my favorite until I found that black skirt, and then the black skirt was my favorite. But those are a close second. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I have one more. So I actually have 8 pieces. This is a poplin cotton top. It's by Old Navy, and this was $6.49. Another one that I would have never picked up if I shopped like I usually do and just kind of like skip the black sections. But the cut of this is so perfect. I love tops like this. Old Navy is really good at doing them apparently, because I have a few tops with this cut from Old Navy where it is seamed at the bust line and then just ever so slightly pulls away from the body. Like not in a super dramatic peplum or empire waist style where it flares out, although I think that's cute too. But I like when it has the effect of still being very form-fitting, but it just ever so slightly pulls away from your body, so you have a little bit more room to breathe. I also packed my capris, my trusty little stretch denim capris that I wear all the time. And I don't know that that would be the best outfit for the conferences during the day, but I feel like that would be a really cute sort of going out look for the social events at night, because it still feels professional enough, but it just feels a little bit more dressed down and kind of fun. Who knew? So many good things when you start to look at the black clothes. Again, I hope this serves as some good inspiration out there for those of you that are interested in elevating your workwear style without feeling like an imposter, without feeling like you're dressing like somebody else. And you can find these things at the thrift store. Like 80% of these things were not really on my Pinterest wish list per se, but they just sort of fell into my life and kind of forced me to be creative in a way that I typically wouldn't have been if I had just gone to the mall and let them tell me what suit all the other corporate girls are buying, you know? Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!